So, hello, listener. Welcome to another episode of Corporate Elements. My name is John, and I'm joined with Robbie today. And we are going to discuss and explore strategies to navigate through workplace conversations, balancing professionalism, empathy, and effective communication. So, because it's an appraisal season right now, okay, and probably now you have 14 years of experience, I believe, under your belt. So, you might have gone through negative, positive experiences. So, narrate me a negative impression that you had during the appraisal season.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to meet you. You know what? In fact, I have a very amazing incident that happened to one of my friends, and it is totally aligned with today's topic. And I would like to share that. So tell me, how have you been first? It's been a while. So what's going on?
Well, I have been a bit busy here and stuff and everything, but most probably I'm enjoying the work, and I hope you are enjoying as well.
Yeah, no complaints.
Those conversations are always awkward about workplace, and I still, I look back at these conversations 10 years back and now, and we are quite evolved in our conversations, I believe, right?
Yeah. Vocabulary especially.
Yes.
Coming back to the incident that happened with my friend. So let's call him Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny was sitting on his desk and he suddenly received an email from his manager. And when he looked into the email, this was regarding his performance rating. And the email asked him to acknowledge. When he opened the Workday website in which the rating were published, out of 6 parameters, in 4 parameters, he was rated as needs improvement. And the overall rating was meets expectation. This made Johnny a little furious because he had collected all the evidences about the appreciation and accomplishments of throughout the projects he had worked on. What he did is he asked back for a feedback, and he replied back to the same email asking that the response in the evaluation doesn't seem fair. He asked for re-evaluation. One day passes by, and the second day, the same manager replies back to him that he needs to respond by the end of the day, and before that, he requested a meeting.
Correct.
So Johnny believed that this is going to be a normal conversation, so he collected all the evidences, that is the appreciation emails and the project successful commentaries, and he went back into the meeting room. What he saw was really astonishing. He saw that the manager is accompanied by the another 2 manager from the same department, but not reporting to him, or he's not reporting to them, and there is a director as well. So once the meeting started, he was just waiting, like who will begin the meeting. So he asked that how shall we begin. So the director interrupts and he pulled out all the list of responses from the respective managers, and he just pinpointed on the one where the feedback was not that great.
Okay.
The thing happened with Johnny was working in the project where he had least experience in their respective area, whereas he was not supposed to work on, but due to very less workforce employees, he was assigned that project.
And this particular project, how much time had he spent on these projects?
The area was totally new. For example, he was working on a technical project which was not his area of expertise, and he had never worked on it.
Correct.
But since he was assigned that, he had, being the senior member in that respective project, he had driven the project and he had successfully delivered it on time. And the thing happened with him was that the respective director was only pinpointing like the only feedback which was negative.
Yes.
He did not anticipate that. He just was asking for the fair evaluation and response from his manager, not the involvement of the director.
Yes.
There was a moment where he said the director, who is considered to be an old school with a traditional management style, he interrupted him and shouted at him, saying that this is my office, I will speak, you will not speak.
Okay.
This made Johnny really shocked. He didn't know how to react. He realized that no matter what he say, everyone is targeting him. No one was speaking in his favor. No one was focusing on the other good things he had done. He had supported on the other project. That was not even considered. While they were focusing on the black dot on a white paper.
Correct.
He was really upset, and this led him to believe that no change is going to happen, no progress is going to happen to him. And in a 1 month's time, he left his shop.
Okay. And this organization that we're speaking about, okay, how old was this organization?
This is a largest,
One of the largest
fintech, based in US.
US.
Yes.
But with the Indian management style or a US management style, what exactly? Like, so what? How was the leadership shaped up?
So basically, there was the director who was he was working over the project which was shared services. So he was supporting a team based in US. A team was established in India, which was managed by the director.
Yeah.
And the vice president, who was basically owner of the team, he was from US.
Okay. So the top leadership is basically based out of US, and then here the management was specifically like completely Indian traditional management as such, right? And hierarchy based.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So what was the actual experience at the end? Like, what did you think after all this?
Okay. I think the style of this conversation could be more, empathetic, where they could have given an opportunity for Johnny to listen or to list down the things, or maybe they could have asked him to share his views or what were his expectations. I remember once Johnny also told me that he asked for a feedback where he believed that a monthly evaluation of his work would help him to learn or to understand the area of growth, and he could work on his skills and develop his competency and move further.
Correct.
That didn't happen. In fact, when he shared that his manager failed to carry out the monthly performance review meetings, he was backfired with a rude statement that, quote unquote, the words were, "I will do the meeting when I will feel I need to do the meeting."
Correct.
And I think that is one of the reasons he left. He didn't feel appreciated. He didn't feel listened to. I remember I was having same conversation with one of my directors to whom I look up to. He said that you need to listen to your employees.
Correct.
And that just stuck into my mind. So whenever I get a chance, whenever I work with my subordinates, let them speak first.
So the conversation of this appraisal experience, don't you think it is taking us to some structured topics like, it depends completely on a boss? Don't you think? Like, okay, your appraisal is also sort of a communication, right?
Right.
So it's all about, of course, the communication is at the end, fag end of your appraisal year, whatever. So whatever your financial year was at the end of the year. But what if you just joined at the start of the year, okay, and you have this same conversation, okay, or same background or same history, for example, and you go 10 years back, you say that, okay, what could I have done differently? Okay, so the first question is, or the first topic of conversation after your experience that I want to bring up is, what would we have done differently at that point of time? Okay, so the conversation is more of how to improve your boss, but not sound like, completely like a slave. So let's take the conversation there. Don't you think it might be an interesting way to look at that?
Yes, it does. It does.
So how much, like, so for example, the next thing is, okay, so how to impress your boss, okay, but how to do it in a structured manner. So if you were in the same thing 10 years back, now with all your experience of current, but you go back 10 years, you had to redo everything, okay, could we have changed it, or can you bring up something like that in that conversation? So same conversation of your current experience but 10 years back, so how would you have explored this same thing and navigated through this tough workplace conversation if you had a chance to redo it
as an employee?
Yeah.
So say in a given situation, it depends what I'm asking for.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had never asked for a promotion in spite of the fact I feel deserving.
Correct.
So what I'll do is, I'll ask from a promotion. Okay. And to do that, what I will do is I will wait for the right time.
Mhm.
Firstly, when the right time will be during the annual performance review period.
Correct.
Secondly, after the successful completion of the project. Thirdly, maybe after a change in the market policy or change in the industry standards,
Yes.
something regulatory changes.
Correct.
I think this was the right time I would have asked, which I believe I needed.
Okay.
Secondly, what I will do is I will document
Mhm.
whatever achievements I have, or even the appreciation email from the client, because I think that matters a lot.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Then what I will do is I will connect with my superiors, my managers and leaders, and I will take feedback. Not possible even as at the monthly basis, then at least I will do on quarterly basis.
Correct.
And I will document that as well. At the end of the year, I will have enough evidence to discuss and demand. I have never done this and 10 years back. But now I think that is one of the way, if you feel that you are right and you deserve it.
Mhm.
This is one of the approach which I would have taken.
So to wrap it up in a like a nicely neat format, so it would be like, okay, first I would have set expectations, and whatever expectations I set in the start of the year, through periodic conversations with your boss, you would have evaluated it, documented it, and at the end of the year you would have had much better experience. That's what.
Right.
Yes, I mean, I think that is actual approach. If even if I had to do that like 10 years back. And the next topic that I would like to talk about is, how do you balance the professionalism in this whole conversation? Like, do you think that being professional all the time, or having a little bit of balancing attitude as well? Like, okay, I am professional at the same time, but at the other end I also have to forge relationships, so there needs to be a balance as such. So have you had such kind of an experience?
Yes, in fact, recently on a Teams call, it happened that where I was leading the call, and there was an interruption from a manager who was not listening from the start, but she interrupted, and I choose words to tell her that we will get there, but she needs to hold on. But what I chose to say was that you need to be patient. And what happened was my manager got furious and he left the call.
Mhm.
So, speaking of balancing professionalism and conversation, it has to do, with the tone and with the words and with the attitude.
Correct.
I need to sense that. I think this happened because we were working remotely. My manager is located in some other city. We have met once, but in person it's different, and on call it's different. So I have to get on another call and explain I didn't mean to be rude. That is not me. That is not part of me either. And I promise that I will use right choice of words and ensure that, in such a big forum where there were presence of so many people, I will be more polite.
Correct.
So I'm learning it a hard way. So what I have understood is that once you step into office, you have to maintain that attitude. And to balance professionalism, what you can do is you can keep your emotions aside. You never share how you feel. You focus the one and only priority thing, that is work, and you have to be nice to others.
Correct.
And you also have a life.
Yeah.
And in case if you want to leave early or if you want to go out, you can just ask assertively, finish all your work or delegate all your work, ensure that you're targeting the priorities, manage it, and you can leave freely.
Correct.
So asking what you want and with the solution by managing your work, I think that is a balanced professionalism.
Yeah. So I would like to add a little bit to it. I think your boss or whoever is you managing you, at the end of the day, there should be sort of a situation where they are comfortable with your working style and you are comfortable with their managing style. If you don't have that kind of camaraderie or that control, or probably that balance between the professionalism and personal issues with your boss, okay, or if you don't have those kind of conversations, I think that balance will never come.
Right.
And probably if that person is not comfortable with you, he may not be able to do or be comfortable with certain situations where you want to leave early, or you want to have a certain conversation, even if it is a little about mentorship and stuff, right? So having that connect with your boss is also very important, right? I am not saying that, oh, you have to be people pleaser or boss pleasers per se, but at least that person should have a pleasant personality. Okay, your boss should have a pleasant personality, and you and him or her should be in that zone where you're comfortable with each other.
I agree.
Correct?
I agree.
Hence, I think your point of balancing the professional and personal life comes into picture or play. That okay, if I'm comfortable with this particular person, then this particular person will be okay with a lot of things in certain situation, but we can't pull it like a rubber band, or we can't use it as a point as such. So that is very, very nice of you to point out. And I think you use this particular word called as empathy, right? So how does empathy play a very important role? And do you have like a negative experience and a good experience about how empathy played a role?
Speaking of good experience, so whenever I had a family emergency, the request from my boss was, okay, don't text, just call and say, okay, just remind him on call. So I used to do that.
Correct.
So whenever there used to be an emergency, I used to call my boss and say, even at the last moment, that this is an emergency and I need to support my family, so I won't be able to come to work today. So instantly my manager used to like approve my request. That is a kind of a good experience I had, because I believe that he used to understand, he knows the background of my family and he understands my strength and weaknesses, and we had this mutual faith on each other, and we were both dedicated working employees, speaking of camaraderie. So this was a good experience where what I understand is that, which also gave me a space and belief that on such situation, if I'm getting support, that I'm willing to deliver more.
Correct.
Okay, so we built that kind of a trust. A negative experience in a scenario is like, speaking of empathy, there was a time where I was working from hospital due to some emergency. My family member was hospitalized, and there was this person for whom there was a client deliverables and I need to get it done. And I told this person that, okay, you need to give me an hour at least, because right now I am in middle of something. I'm in the hospital. I told that person, in fact, this, but the other person was like, okay, without any empathy and sympathy, the person was like, okay, just give me, it will be great if you give me it in next 30 minutes. And I was like really upset, because at the humanity level I was expecting that, speaking of hospitals, I will cut the call immediately in case if someone is there and I need something from that other person. So this is both of good and bad experiences, and I think it differs from person to person. We all are learning. So these values, such as being empathetic, I think we learn by time. And in a professional sense, if I may say, you just need to draw a line over here. And if someone says that this is an issue and this is a hardship, as a manager, you can just delegate that someone else with the competency, or you yourself can get it done. Because giving that time to that employee will build a long lasting trust and relationship.
Correct. So I feel that listening to your conversation, I feel that there is this one thing that, oh, I'm your boss and I'm a lead. That conversation comes up, right? Like if you see this particular person who's not empathetic towards others, he's more of a boss attitude, where I'm your boss, get this, let me, I want to get this work done. Okay. And when it comes to a lead person, okay, a lead would be a little different. I feel that, oh, I understand the situation. Let me see if I can get this done, by myself, or probably someone else in the team. And probably I can try to resolve this by myself, is what it makes it healthier, right? So this is very important. If the person who's above you, is he a boss or is he a lead? So that conversation becomes quite different. What if it was a lead person and he would have handled it differently, correct?
Right.
And I think that's where you must have learned that, oh, I cannot be like this person. So when I become a boss, I will be a much better person here, and I will try to balance that out as much as possible, so that tomorrow the person who's working with you or under you they are comfortable to work with you for a very long time because their experiences would be very good. Okay, and there is something called as employee retention as well, right? So if what if your boss had been handling that situation very nicely and said, oh, don't worry, you handle your situation, let me see if I can get it done from someone else, or I myself can do that or not. So question to you again is that, what if your boss had handled this differently? What would be the outcome of it? So I'm assuming that because you had this issue with them, so probably you must have left the organization, or probably you had a very negative experience and you didn't want to work with this person, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because see, we as a human being, we are judgmental. And if I see the respective person behaving like this, then I will feel that, what in other areas will he behave like that? If I ask him for a promotion, if I ask him for a new project, so I feel that he will always have this filter in his mind.
Correct.
And I will challenge his competency as well, because if I need to level up, I need to make him redundant. So I will obviously take over his responsibilities. And if I feel that I can do better than him, then there's no respect. I need somewhere, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to be with the smartest people. And if he doesn't inspire me to become better, then it is one of the things for me. If it's not inspiring, then I will definitely don't stick around.
Yeah. So there is this kick factor for me that, oh, what's the motivation for me to be here? Because if I am a better person in terms of empathy, in terms of knowledge, in terms of escalation handling and everything, and if I am doing everything as an employee, then why do I need a boss to do that? Right. So that kind of brings down the respect for the boss. So yeah, I am the boss mindset, I don't think so it works in the current scenario, where teams are becoming more robust, more global, more multilingual, more multifaceted, right? Today, the jobs are quite dynamic. Like, you're not only doing, I was in one of the biggest IT firms, and the work was quite monotonous and redundant. You would sit there for 8 hours but do only like a 1 hour or 2 hour job as such. And the boss is not engaging and stuff, and not much of interactions with your superiors as such. So that kind of made me feel very underappreciated, and I left the job probably in a year and a half, probably, I remember. So it's a very important conversation to have in the current world, corporate world, I think, because teams are quite robust, people are multifaceted and multi-talented. You have to be, as a manager, you have to be, knowing everything. No, I'm not saying you have to be master of all, but knowing everything, which means that, you should be an effective communicator, empathize better, maintain delegation and hierarchy in such a way that everyone is comfortable with you. And also, when there is a escalation situation, like for example, you might have had a conversation which was very uncomfortable. So do you have any kind of situation like that? Oh, wish this would have been better.
So we are not born with self-confidence and self-esteem. We develop it by learning and doing things and mastering things.
Yeah.
Right. So there's always that insecurity, because there is always this rewarding gestures, if I may say, in the corporate world, where they nominate the people who is good at the job, and that person moves on the level up. What I think is that for me, if I could just be open up, if I had a confidence to speak up, had a clarity, most importantly, understand what's going on and what needs to be done, or like I said, a communication with the clear objectives, instead of just doing the daily business as usual activities, that would have helped me. Because nowadays it's happening is that the conversation is happening only once in a year. The year just passes by, you could have done so many things, you lost so many opportunities, and you get stuck in daily BAU activities. This is where the problem lies, I believe.
Correct.
So if you are confident enough to ask what you want, and if you are confident enough to ask for support and guidance from your leader, and if you are ready to take that extra responsibilities and walk on that path, I believe nothing can stop you from leveling up.
Correct. So coming back to, let's say you would have started 10 years back in the corporate world. So communication is the key thing that I've understood in my experience. So how are you different from then and now?
Reading. most importantly, email communications were are so impactful, and the tone, it's not writing big emails or the short emails. Okay, it's writing clearly or communicating clearly and speaking with your leaders, not just communicating or exchanging words, but about the ideas, discussion, exchange of ideas, or portraying the ideas, or believing in your ideas, or communicating it in a manner which is effective and which is resulting. That is more important.
Correct.
Communication is not just the words or sounds that goes through. It is the ideas and the way you do. That also matters a lot.
Correct.
So looking 10 years back, I used to just say things, okay, without conviction, maybe, or without limited belief. I basically give value to my ideas. And when I give value to my ideas, I ensure it is heard. If it is possible to put into action, I will ensure that it is done. And I make sure that I communicate it in a manner it is resulting. So this is a difference.
Correct. So earlier it was more about a very myopic way of looking at it, or you were looking at it from a myopic perspective. That I just have to say it.
Right.
It need not have any context. It need not have any effect on other people. But now it's much more different, where you have to first understand the idea, believe in it, and then communicate it and make it happen.
Right.
Is what the main context that you're trying to give. So, and yes, you've given a very nice way of, or you probably have summarized of last 10 years of how you have grown, which is a very beautiful thing. And there needs to be clarity and perspective, right?
Right.
If I still feel a lot of people, even after 10 years or 12 or 15 years of experience, they don't know how to communicate. Communication is the key. Okay. Because at the end of the day, your work, obviously, yes, your work will speak for you, your knowledge will come out. But if you're not able to communicate, then I think there is nothing you can anyone do, because at some point of time, you're, at least, I don't know how Indian firms do that. My experience with the MNCs has been, managing expectations with all the stakeholders and communicating effectively on a daily basis. Okay, because our conversations are happening on a daily basis, and because advent of the tech, you can reach out to any person who's at the other end of the world, and effectively speak on video, chat, call. So 3 ways of all the communication is now possible because tech is good now.
Right.
So the barrier earlier that we had 10 years back, now all of them are gone. Now everything is there.
Right.
And because we have so much of mediums to communicate, and if we are still not effectively communicating, then there is, what I feel is that you are not improving there.
Right.
As a person or as an employee.
Right.
So if you are not doing communication effectively, managing expectations, be it a junior person or be it a boss level person, if the communication or message is not clear, I doubt that organization will survive for way too long.
I agree. In fact, all the big deals of millions and billions doesn't happen in a conference room or a meeting room. It happens on the lunch table.
Correct. I've heard like Bangalore has this weird culture. Cafes are there to make $1 million deals. Yeah, and that's what it is all about, right? I've heard. I used to So I did this investment banking course, and the sir or the professor there, he told me that, where do you think these conversations happen? Where do you think these conversations happen? This is not happening in your conference rooms or big firms. No, it's not happening there. It is happening on airports. Like, there was a 5-6 hour flight, so and this person was in business class. These two people just met and it happened. People who are going to these elite colleges like IIMs or IITs or ISBs, they are forming these networks and they're talking to each other and deals are happening. I think a very good example was Twitter. So somebody said that, I have this idea, let's meet. And the other person said, let's meet. Even like the conversations happening on social media, which is now becoming this next thing. So yeah, communication is what has changed the whole world.
Right.
And in the last 10 years, I think as a millennial, I have seen tech going from analog to digital to also from a very small room to big MNCs. Okay, it has changed the whole world as such. So looking at it back, yes, the one thing that I could change for myself was how to effectively communicate, and really nicely summed up by you as well. Okay, how you were and how you are now. So it's very beautiful. So that's a lot of conversations for today, and I hope you enjoyed this.
Yes, I
and
did.
I hope we have some more conversations about this particular topics. And I really loved chatting today with you. So thank you,
Thank you.
and see you again.
Soon. Thank you.
Thank you.